it's Karen here and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and like button so that you make sure that you don't miss any of my tutorials that I'm sharing here on my channel. So if you're anything like me, you have stuff is everywhere. And if you're anything like me, your stuff is lots of pieces of paper, things that you've collected, magazine cuttings, all of that kind of thing. So I want to share with you how I curate my stuff. So it's in boxes and then I move it along. So it's kind of like a little bit like a production line. So I'll take some things and I'll put them elsewhere and then I'll add them into my journal pages so that when I open up my journal page I have it there. So I wanted to share these tips with you on how to get better organised when it comes to all of the things that you have in front of you and to get inspired for your journal pages. So without further ado, we'll move on to the tutorial. This is how I like to try and organise some of my bits and plan a little bit ahead in my journal pages and just give myself some spark starters, so things that I can just get started with. So this is one of several boxes that I have, and this one has lots of little bits in it. So what I like to do is I like to go through this box and pick out a few things that are sparking my interest or grabbing my attention. So I'll just have a little look through this one now. So this is the one where I kind of keep most of my stuff in there. Lots of different bits, magazine bits, old papers, some kind of painted paper scraps. So I might pick out, you know, just a few things that are kind of jumping out at me at the moment. So I'm not paying too much attention, I'm just looking for whatever kind of catches my eye as I'm going through. I don't want to pick out too many things because then it gets overwhelming, but I will pick out a few bits just to show you kind of what I have, what I keep. It's an old magazine, it's photocopy. I love these, I have these everywhere. These are some scraps, some Victorian scraps. They're not actually Victorian, but that's what they're called. So I'm just going to go through and just pull out whatever is jumping out at me. I tend to hoard all of these, but I do try to keep this box fairly under control. So if it's becoming a bit too much, I'll go through and kind of throw some things out and just get rid of them because that's quite nice. It can get a bit too much, you know. So that's all I kind of want for now. I won't pick out too many things because I want to show you what I do with them then. So we'll just pop these all back in. Okay, that fell out. Let's just leave that out. So the next thing I have is this A4 clipboard that I keep next to my desk on my little shelf there, and it's kind of a cut down version of my little box. So what I will do is the things that I've pulled out, I will attach them here to this clipboard. And this clipboard really has just a few things on it. I try and keep it really small, and when I start to use up the things, I'll add more things to it. So these are the things that I've taken from my boxes or from my little collections, and they've really jumped out at me right now. So they're front of mind, they're going to be right in front of me. So I'll go through these little pieces and I'll just show you some things I've got. So I've got some tags, the ones I just picked out. I have these stickers I've had for ages. This is from the front of a vintage sewing pattern. This is the vintage sewing pattern. Some stickers, some more stickers, some papers, some of those Victorian scraps, and then some magazine images that I've pulled out that I like and that I maybe want to use. So I keep this next to my desk, and I'm going to show you then how I move on to the next part and how I will put these into my journal and start using them. So here is my journal, and you've already seen that I tend to prep a few pages ahead with the gesso so that I have these surfaces ready to go. I don't need to worry too much about prepping them and all of that boring stuff. So what I'll do next is I'll take my clipboard that you've seen. So this is really the curated, super narrowed down version of what's inspiring me right now and what I'd really like to use. So what I will do is I will take a couple of pieces, just like one or two. I'm not overloading my page with them, and I will put them into my journal. So what I tend to do is I'll have a look. See, I'll move maybe the smaller pieces to the side. These are stickers, so I'll just pop them there. Backgrounds, images, and there's more stickers. So I'll just kind of spread them out and see what I have in front of me. So I really like these girls, and these are really nice. I really want to use them, and I really want to use some of these hearts. I think that they will go nice with it, and because it is with it, I think I might go with, instead of the pattern paper, I'll go with the sewing directions. So I might use that in the background. Now I may or may not use these. It's just really to kind of get me going rather than sitting there going, oh, what am I going to make? So I'll pop these together, and I'll grab one of my little paper clips, and I will just clip it into my journal. So you can use a little bulldog clip or whatever you have to hand to kind of pop it into your journal. So I'll just pop it in like that. Just make sure it's not going to get damaged. So that's that one. And then I like this. This was just an accidental photocopy of one of my papers. I like this one. And I also really like I love the tissue paper from the sewing patterns, and I'm liking these stickers as well, so I think I might just cut these in half because they'll be too long. I think I like this one. So I'm just going to pop these in as well for the next one. And what shall we have next? Take a magazine image, I think. Which one? I quite like this one. It's not one that I would normally use, but it's jumping out at me, so I'm just going to cut, because I'm not going to use the rest of the text. I'm only going to use the image. Take that off, put that there. I like this. And I have these scraps on my table, so I think I'll take this one. And maybe the tag. We'll see. Again, it could be more than I actually need, but that's okay. I have it there, and I'll pop those in like that. So now I have not necessarily my next 3 pages planned out. That's not really what this is all about. It's about kind of opening up your journal and giving yourself a little head start. You're giving yourself a leg up. So rather than opening the journal and going, ugh, what am I going to make next? It's a really great way to kind of just get your juices going, get things going in your mind. I mean, this fabric tag, I really love it. I could embroider on that. That would look really cool. So already I'm getting ideas for, I mean, these ones, even though I didn't plan it, they work really well together, the colours. So there's loads of colours in this that I could pick up and use on my page. And this vintage image, I'm really loving as well. And I'm loving the colour of these as well. The paper here is really cool. So that's how I like to do it, because I put out all of these videos on YouTube, and you know, I make a lot of stuff. I do a lot of stuff for design teams, so I have to keep myself inspired, otherwise I'll kind of go mad spending so much time thinking about things. I just don't have that time. So if you're under pressure for time when you're sitting down to create, this is a really great way, because you can just open up your journal to any one of these pages. You don't have to go in order, and you have already some things that are there that you know already picked out. So I mean, it didn't take me too long to pick these pieces out, and then if you don't like them or you don't use them, well, then they go back onto the clipboard. So the clipboard regularly for me gets cold, if you like, for want of a better word. So this stuff here can just go and sit, and whenever you're ready, that's there. And then I've already taken stuff off of this and get rid of that. So I have some images here still. I have some little scraps of paper. Still some of these stickers, tags. So when I feel like I need to go back and plan out a few more pages, I can take what's on here, and I'm quite ruthless. If I go back to it and it's just not, I'll just get rid of it. And generally it gets rid of into the bin. So, you know, if it's not going to get used, I don't often put it back into the box. I try to avoid that if I can. So new things go into the box, then things that I'm loving right now come out of the box and onto the clipboard. And then when I'm starting to kind of think about, okay, what am I going to make next? What do I want to do? What can inspire me right now? I'll go to the clipboard, pull 2 or 3 things off. No more, because otherwise you'll get overwhelmed, and they go into my journal. And if I don't use them in my journal on that page or in that order, I'll pop them back onto the clipboard. And if it's really been sitting there for a long time and it's just not going to get used, it either goes in the bin or it goes back in the box. If it was something like these stickers, I'm not going to use all of them, so that will probably go back onto the clipboard and be used for something else. But same with these stickers here. But if, say, I came to the page and I didn't use this and I put it back there, and, you know, a few weeks later it's still sitting there, then maybe it's just not the time for this, or perhaps it just needs to go. So don't get bogged down in kind of all of your bits and pieces. So I hope that you enjoyed my little tips there on how to get a little bit more organised, a bit more productive in your journals, and that it inspired you. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any of the tutorials and tips that I share here every week. See you next time.